Miles, and I'm very happy, first of all, to announce once again this week we have the greatest podcast in the history of mankind. And there's only one reason for it. We have Lon Kruger, head coach of the Oklahoma University Booming Sooners. How are you, Coacher?
Coach, I'm doing well. Appreciate the opportunity. Always good to visit with you.
Absolutely. I got a chance to know Lon when he was the head coach at UNLV, and I was the head coach at Colorado State. And he and guys like Steve Fisher were very kind to me. They always kept it a reasonable score, those first years especially. And, I just learned so much going against his teams. Coach, you'll be happy to know that your time in the NBA and your prowess as a mental genius when it comes to offensive basketball, we still call on our scout team the double stagger on one side of the floor. And then you can curl the guy, you can fade the big guy, you do it's rebel counter, rebel with a twist, and flop and flip rebel. So yeah, all due to you.
Well, I'm not sure that's a good thing. It seems like we go back to that every once in a while. We'll be unhappy with what we're doing offensively, and we'll say, well, let's go back to. We actually call it Gator, if that makes
Gotcha. Sure.
When you're in the early 90s. At the University of Florida. So it's funny how different names get passed around for different reasons, and whether it's Rebel or Gator or whatever, it seems like a lot of people are using a version of that.
No doubt. I always need a play call to remind me of something personal for me, so I can recall it in the game. So we have a double stagger play, double, and it's funny because some of the other Mountain West guys have it now, and we call it Razor, because I had a kid named Brad Raymond and he needed a shave, and we called him Ray. So Razor. So now the stagger stuff you see that everybody still runs. We always called that Razor for Brad Raymond because he was my best shooter at Mayville. So that's how that goes. Coach, you've had an unbelievable path. Of course, you started at Kansas State as an athlete. Now, were you a star in baseball and you were a star in basketball? What was that like at that day and age? And what year is this? We're talking about the late 60s?
Yeah, we are. I graduated from high school in 1970.
Okay.
So that was a senior year, and my high school was small. We had 35 in our graduating class. So it was a case of everyone, all the guys played everything, baseball, sure, basketball, football, whatever season was in, everyone played it. So that's where we got started, but grew up loving sports, and family that loved sports, and oldest of 6 children, and dad that was huge into baseball, especially. So, everything revolved around sports and activities by the family, and it was a lot of fun. I didn't realize at the time that it was absolutely the perfect upbringing. Very middle class, everyone doing things as a family, and jump in a car and everyone go to everyone's activities. And mom was there every day. We got home from school on the school bus, and dad was a mail carrier, and he did that because he was able to coach all of our teams in the summertime. So yeah, it was a perfect upbringing from a family standpoint. And I think, a lot of those ideals and stereotypes related to that type of a family carry over, for the rest of our lives. So we were very fortunate to have those type of parents.
I had a player at North Dakota State. His name was Denver Tenbrook. Really good player, Division II All-American. He grew up on a ranch. And he was very dependable, and he was excellent, an excellent leader. And I remember a few years after he graduated, we were talking about the next generation of players, and we didn't quite have this leadership that we'd hoped we'd have. That whole generation has changed, of course, right? But he told me something interesting. I said, what do you think helped you in your life, as an athlete and everything? He said, well, having a responsibility on the farm, like when it was calving season and we were delivering calves. Like if you weren't out there doing your job at 4 a.m., you lost money, and that hurt the family. So that responsibility, to chores or whatever it might be, really, he thought panned out for him as an athlete. And, so many times right now we've got guys running crazy, but, one of the first signs of leadership truly is how early you held your own job, And so, Coach, what was your first job growing up?
Yeah, no, and exactly to your point. I grew up on a farm. My dad didn't farm, but my uncles did. So in the summertime, we'd drive tractors, be in the hay fields,
Yeah.
whatever the case was. And I didn't, tear it up too badly, but I was there.
Yeah.
I understand that that was more work than I wanted to do for the next
Yeah.
60 years. So it was pretty, they had to convince me to get an education and go to college and do all those things, because that is work.
No.
And it's great work. It's great work. And the people that do that are exactly of the, qualities that you're talking about, because solid, down to earth people, trustworthy, their word is their, same with a handshake. I mean, all those things that
Yep.
just, almost young people don't understand today, unfortunately, really do carry over for the rest of your lives.
They sure do. I still have a scar on my finger from being a carry out boy and a box boy, in the grocery store, and a box cutter kind of got away from me and laid that one open. But I was always kind of the guy when my brother and my dad, I was the youngest of five, so one of the least responsible ones in the family. But what would happen was I would go in and screw something up, and then I became the gopher. Hey, go get us some nails. Go get us lunch. Get out of here. So that's the way that grew up. Coach, your first job, by the way, you totally ducked the question if you were how many sport athlete you were in college. Were you drafted in the major league?
Played two. Yeah, played two. Played basketball. Actually, when I came out of high school, I wasn't really highly recruited, but Coach Hartman was his first year at Kansas State, and he had scholarships left. So he gave me a scholarship, and kind of a split between a basketball scholarship back then. And so played basketball, and then when basketball season was over, went out and played baseball and at Kansas State, and loved both. It was just a terrific experience, and had great coaches, and again, all the things that you'd want as a player, had those in the experiences there at Kansas State.
So was Tex Winter there, or was he already gone?
Tex Winter was had left in '68. My first year, Cotton Fitzsimmons took over for a couple of years right after Tex Winter, and then Cotton Fitzsimmons, moved on to the Phoenix Suns. Actually, I signed at Kansas. I didn't sign, but I was recruited by Kansas State a little bit by Cotton Fitzsimmons' staff. And then Cotton took the job with the Phoenix Suns, and Coach Hartman came in, and he said I could still have the scholarship. So we signed actually after Coach Hartman got there.
And Jim Molinari was one of your teammates, of course, who's now an assistant coach and a dear friend of mine. And Mo transferred back to Illinois Wesleyan, I believe, right?
That's very true. Yep. When I was a senior at Kansas State, Mo was a freshman, and we kid each other about he and Barb and I went on a lot of dates together. It was just Mo and Barb and I. It wasn't a double date. It was
Barb would have got lonely. Barb would have got lonely. Without Mo.
Like Barb, if she wanted to do something, she'd always, is Mo going? And of course he was. So it worked out well.
Barb is my second favorite coach's wife out there. I just want you to know. And folks, if you don't know, Barb came up to me one day and said, you're my second favorite Mountain West coach, of course, behind my husband. I said, why is that? And her maiden name was Miles. And so we never cross-sectioned and found a relation or anything like that. And she's too smart for that. But she is my second favorite coach's wife. Now, Coach, your first job was Texas Pan American. Was that what it was at the time? Was that what it was called?
It was Pan American. Now, of course, it's University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. But that's only been in the last, 10 years, maybe?
Yeah,
12 years.
not even.
It's part of the UT system. But back then, we were a little old independent school, didn't have a conference. It was 1982 that I first got that job, and great people. We just loved our time there. Kevin actually was born in the Valley. We went down there in 1982. Angie was 2 years old, our daughter. So that's our two kids, Angie and Kevin. And just a great experience. We love going back there. Anytime we can. Of course, Lou Hill, who just recently passed, was doing a great job there. And we're big fans of his and the program, and still love the people there.
Yeah, that's Lou was a good man, your assistant for a long time at UNLV. And I think OU for a bit, and then became the head coach and we're going to miss him. Lou's a good man, and we're just so sad to see that. I thought it was kind of neat that was where you started and that's where he started, originally. It's kind of neat to have those things. And of course, then you became the head coach of your alma mater too, Kansas State.
We did. We went, I guess it was 86. We left, we were at Pan American for 4 years and went back to Kansas State and had just terrific young players there. Steve Henson's and Mitch Richmond's and folks games, and then went to the University of Florida for a few years, had great players there that, got us to the Final Four in 94, and then back to Illinois for a while, and then NBA for a few years, then UNLV, and now University of Oklahoma. So we've been very, very blessed to be around great people with really good players and good administrators, and I've always enjoyed what we do.
What was the biggest adjustment for you going from college to the NBA?
The biggest thing is the number of games and the few number of practices. You average a game every other day. You play 82 games over about 165 days. On the top of that, and you play in, back then you might play 4 games in 5 days. So you just playing a lot of humbling experience because we got fired in our third year and weren't winning enough games, but it was good experience. It was a great experience. Makes us appreciate how tough the job is and how fortunate you are to have the opportunity to do it.
Support for Inside the Mind of Miles is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched in the UK, Greg. I just need to ask, do you have any personal history or grooming stories you'd like to share with the fine listeners of Inside the Mind of Miles?
Oh man,
if they type in the word Miles on Manscaped, they can get 20% off a purchase.
Ooh, I might have to hop on that afterwards. I don't know if I have anything I'd rather share it in a locker room than in here. But
I don't blame you. So, this can be a life-changing product. This is what they tell me right here. So that's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. Manscaped engineering team has perfected the greatest private area trimmer ever created. Just released now is the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0. The third generation trimmer features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce, are they trying to talk me into this or out of it? To reduce grooming accidents. Its waterproof technology allows you to groom in the shower. One of the coolest features is the LED light, which illuminates a grooming area for the closer and precision grooming. That's what I gotta have it. Let's not forget it's got a charging stand. So you can set it right up there, right? And it sits right there.
Not too close to the shower.
Well, I think what I would do is store it on the in the formal dining area on the dining room table. Invite my in-laws over for dinner.
Centerpiece.
Yeah, and just see how that conversation goes. Show your mower off proud, it says, because you have an intelligently designed stand for a convenient charging block powered by a USB. If you're listening to me speak right now, folks, I want you to experience it firsthand yourself. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code MILES, MILES, at manscaped.com. You get 20% off, and your privates will thank you later.
Wonder if
Greg, that's our read.
Those.
I'm blushing.
That takes a lot, Coach.
Well, you've been in the Big 8. You've been in the Mountain West. You've been in the Big 10. And you've been in the SEC. And now you're in the Big 12. Tell me, how do you see the future of our game with league expansion? And though you've been in every league, really except the Pac-12 and the ACC, you've been in big time leagues. How do you see the league expansions and those things in college basketball? And what is your outlook on that?
Yeah, Tim, I think, if we were to imagine that there's going to be big change in the next 3 to 5 years, I think it's going to be 5 times bigger. With the immediate eligibility, the name, image, likeness. I mean, it's going to be crazy. And I don't know that it's going to be better for the student athletes. You know, when they started talking about immediate eligibility, how great that is for the kids. They can leave and play and whatever. But, you know, I think, and we've even got it on our team right now. You know, we've got a pretty good team. We've got guys who are playing pretty well. You know, guys are loving what they're doing, but they've got their handlers that are shopping a couple of them around to other schools in the country. And that's the way it's going to be every year. I mean, the top, you know, there's going to be 6 or 7 kids on every roster that the middle of February are going to be shopped to other schools by their handlers or their uncles or agents or whatever they've got. And then you add to that the name, image, likeness, where kids can sign autographs and do endorsements and do, you know, and in the locker room, how much are you getting for this endorsement?
Yeah.
I'm getting $100. Well, I'm getting 50. What's the deal? I mean, it's gonna, you know, a professional locker room, you know, those guys are a little more experienced and they can handle that a little bit because they understand. But 18 to 22-year-olds, it's going to be a new world for them, and it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it really will be. I'll be very curious to see all of that works. And, you know, Coach, probably like you, a lot of my transfers who redshirted went on to become all league. You know, it wasn't such a bad deal. It was certainly a price to pay. But if you're going to say, hey, I can be all Big 10, all Mountain West, all Big 12, but you got a redshirt, you know, it's not such a bad idea then, you know. So I'm curious as, you know, we go further, how that's going to work and how it's going to impact. And I agree with you. I think our game is in a very good place. I don't want to mess with the shot clock. I don't want to advance the ball. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to mess with it. We have a good game. It's fun to watch. It's fun to be a part of. And one thing you learn, and Coach, I don't know if you were ever out of it for any length of time outside of a few months, but games are really short. You know, when you're a spectator, I was a head coach for 24 years, and it felt like the games went on forever. And now I'm watching them as a person. I'm like, this game's over. Like, I mean, this game is over. And it's amazing how short they are. And that's just one thing I've learned. I know it's been a lot of fun. In the course of your career, and you've gone, Oklahoma basketball this year, last year you had a really good team. And this year's team, you know, beats 3 top 10 teams on the road, right? Or 3 consecutive ranked teams on the road, I believe, something like that. You've really done a phenomenal job with this team. You know, what's the magic potion?
Well, having really good players, as you know, is always the key. We went into this year, you know, I think we ended up 3rd in the Big 12 last year, and then obviously didn't have the postseason tournament. But then went in this year with a little bit even more under the radar, if you will. And we didn't know for sure either, but we had a bunch of guys that just really came together. You know, like you say, we've beaten 5 top 15 teams in the country.
Wow.
You know, and I think we're ranked today, you know, 9th, and no one would have imagined that. But sometimes it just says, you know, you get a player or two and all of a sudden it clicks. Austin Reeves as the point guard is a really tough matchup because he can shoot it. He can drive it. He's a good passer. At 6'5", he's got good size, good vision. And then Elijah Harkless, you know, the transfer from Cal State Northridge, comes in and wasn't even eligible until December 16th when they made everyone eligible. And all of a sudden, you know, his physicality and intensity really rubbed off. Davion Harmon's having a really good year as a sophomore, and Moshe Gibson, the transfer from North Texas, comes in and shooting the ball really well. And Brady Manning's a 4th-year starter at the post. He can really shoot it. So you just go down the list a long ways, and everyone's a little bit of a unique piece, but they all fit together and they really like each other. And you know how important that is on a team. And we've got good depth. We've started, you know, 9 or 10 different lineups, and guys understand that the guys that are producing are going to play more, and the guys that aren't going to work harder to hopefully play more. And they've just got the right makeup to keep making progress as a group.
So Jim Molinari, like I alluded to earlier, I'm going to have him on the show later tonight, and I'm going to interview Coach Mo and talk to him a little bit. You know, how has it been as a friend of his to now work with him?
Yeah, well, we've been friends for, you know, like I say, since 19 74 is when he, three, I guess, when he, we first met, and he was a freshman at Kansas State. So we've been friends ever since, and we've talked on a weekly basis ever since. So, yeah, it's different for sure, but we know each other so well that he can kind of say what he wants to and needs to, and I can say it back to him, and I think it turns into being very productive conversations. As you know, we got to kind of keep track of his car keys and coffee mugs and all that. But once we get that sorted out, and I don't let him drive with any drink anymore. I don't let him ride.
Well, unless you want to wear it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So. But no, it's been great. I mean, as you know, it's all about relationships. It's all about being around people that you enjoy and trust, and they're kind of in it together. And that's the way it is with Mo. I mean, he wants nothing more than for these kids to have great success. And, he has no ego about it. He just, obviously, his teams have always been very, very good defensively. And I think he's brought that additional level of intensity and expectation to our guys, and they've gotten better on both ends of the floor. But I think defensively is where we've made our biggest strides of progress. And I think as a result, we've been pretty consistent on that end of the floor.
No doubt. Coach Mo is a treasure, was really helpful. I mean, just his keen eye on defense and that precision to it always was helpful. And I think that just elevates your program even more. Coach, before I wrap up here, I appreciate you being on, but you have done something just unbelievable special in my book, because I've probably seen it from almost the outset, which is your event, Coaches versus Cancer in Las Vegas. And for those of you that don't know, Coach invites, coaches all across, the Midwest and the West usually, but guys have come from a little bit everywhere. And he's used his vast network of connections and great people to bring things. And when I was at Colorado State and even Nebraska, we always brought a team or whatever. And Coach, you're raising almost $2 million a year. Went from fledgling, barely getting it off the ground, to doing at least $2 million a year for Coaches versus Cancer.
Yeah, this will be the 14th year, Tim, and you might have been at the first one. I mean, I know you were there early on.
Yeah, first
years we were making netting $50,000, and it was going to fight cancer, and that was great. And then just kept growing. You got Las Vegas, you got great golf courses, you got great weather, you got a place where people enjoy traveling to. And because of you and other coaches around the country, that just kept coming. It's become a reunion every year. And we'll net, in a normal year. This COVID year last year wasn't normal. And this year coming up, I think we're going to have maybe the biggest turnout we've ever had, if it goes ahead and, we continue to make progress on the COVID side, to where, we'll net after expenses, about $1.5 million.
Wow.
From that 2 or 3 days. And that's begun because of great partnerships. Sanford Health, you're very familiar with. They're our, signature sponsor, and then MGM, International. They host everything and give us all the rooms. And so we got great partnerships and great sponsors. And then, of course, most importantly, you got coaches that come from all over and bring their foursomes, and people just have a good time. It's very relaxed. It's raising money for a great, great cause. And we got to keep doing that, especially now with, the money's going to fight COVID, Heart Association, American Cancer Society. I mean, all those other organizations that are in great need for dollars are really, really suffering because of, the priority on fighting COVID.
Well, it's such a good event, folks. And we know the cause. First of all, we understand the cause, and it's so important. But I was in Grand Island last weekend, Nebraska, and I was calling high school basketball games, couple games. There was Sunrise Christian, and there was Oak Hill Academy playing some Nebraska teams, some of the finest teams in Nebraska. It was a lot of fun. I get a call from a guy from Grand Island. It says, "Now, Coach, hey, do I get to be in your group for the Coaches versus Cancer in Las Vegas?" And it was a guy I had met, and who went out one year with Michael Lewis, who's an assistant for me. We got a couple groups together, and a friend of mine, Tim McEwen, had helped kind of arrange this. And he was like, "Listen, don't forget about me. Don't forget about me." And Lon does such a good job. For instance, Bill Self was very good about having a group, he sold an experience with Bill Self, so to speak. So, a couple guys, anteed up some cash for Coaches versus Cancer. And then they got great tickets behind the Kansas bench, got to go in the locker room after the win. And they still talk about that in Lincoln. There's a bunch of Lincoln guys, and they're like, that was the greatest thing. And I'm like, hey, the Huskers aren't too bad here. And OU's not too bad. But they were drinking the juice. But the things you do, Lon, are so creative and so you have a stroke of genius about you when it comes to marketing, when it comes to running these events, that it impacts so many people in a positive way. Not only for us patrons who get to go there and enjoy it and enjoy, whatever, spending the money or whatever it might be. The fact that what you're doing, 1.5 million for cancer, the American Cancer Society and Coaches versus Cancer, is unbelievable. So I just wanted to make sure, folks, if you're in a college town, ask your coach, hey, what's going on? Are we going to Lon Kruger's Coaches versus Cancer event? And we'll figure out how to make it bigger and better in the whole thing. Don't worry about that. But Lon, I just have to say, I admire that in you. I appreciate that in you. And thank you very much for all your efforts that way.
Well, thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. Again, you being a part of it, and we got you down. We got you down for your foursome this year too.
We're ready.
We'll have 60 foursomes. We'll have 60, and if we need to get another course, because we have more foursomes, and we can handle that too.
Well, thank you very much. And folks, it doesn't take long to listen to Lon Kruger to find out why he's been to the NCAA tournament, every imaginable school he's ever been at. So we've already gone through the laundry list of teams. And Coach, you look like you got a winner on your hands again. Best of luck as the Big 12 winds down, the Big 12 tournament goes, and of course, March Madness. Good luck to you. Good luck to the OU Sooners. My sister, I'd be remiss, Karen Miles Weiss, wishes you the best of luck. She's your biggest fan. Well, wait, who's that football coach of yours? Lincoln Riley. So he's number one, and you're 1B. I just got to tell you. She
understand. Appreciate those Sooner alums.
Yeah, but the Miles family loves the Krugers and OU, and good luck. Knock them dead. And thanks for coming on the show. Hey, before we get to our close and Jim Molinari and Greg Eaton, let me tell you a little bit about our partners over at Bet Rivers Sportsbook. If you haven't signed up with Bet Rivers yet, now's the time. Bet Rivers Sportsbook is offering a $250 match bonus for your first deposit. What sets them apart is they require just one playthrough to turn your bonus into cash money. When you win at Bet Rivers Sportsbook, they pay fast. And now it's even faster with Rush Pay, instant approval for withdrawals. It's safe, secure, and reliable. With March Madness right around the corner, there's never been a better time to give Bet Rivers Sportsbook a try. Go to betrivers.com or download the app. You must be 21 years or older. If there's a problem, dial 1-800-GAMBLING. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to perhaps the greatest close in the history of mankind. I've got with me two of my favorite people in the entire universe. Greg Eaton over here, and Jim Molinari, the Coach Mo. Coach Mo!
Coach, how you doing? E.
Coach.
He knows everything that ever was said about a scouting report, and I still frustrated him.
Let me tell you why he frustrated you. Lon Kruger said he couldn't find his keys. Greg Eaton found his laptop one day in the parking lot.
No, Coach, it wasn't in the parking lot. It was down by the old armory, by the
away.
I said to him, I got to go out to my car and get my computer. Can you help me when I get it? We need to work on stuff. And he goes, I don't think you should do that. I can't do that. What do you tell me that I can't go to my car and get the computer? He said, because I don't think it's there. Because he had gotten a call from like the Army Reserve or the Armory, and they had found it on the street. The amazing thing is I drove 4 miles with that thing on top of my computer. That just shows I am Jason Bourne.
You are Jason Bourne when it comes to driving. I mean, you do some amazing stuff.
Here's the thing. And then I asked him, can you save it?
First question.
No. You were going 45 and a 30.
It's been run over by like 3 cars. I go, can we save the thing?
No. Ladies and gentlemen, this is, of course, Greg Eaton and I worked with Coach Molinari for 5 years at the University of Nebraska. And Greg and I have been together at CSU and even Coach Mo, I think you came out the year before Greg was hired. I don't think you were out the year Greg was with me at CSU. You came out. Coach Mo came out and did a defensive clinic for my staff. It was really impressive. I mean, if you want to close out with one person or 11 people all in one spot on the floor, that man can do it. That man can do it.
He really took care of me in that clinic. I said, what hotel room I'm staying? He goes, Nico Method's couch.
Nico's couch. Yeah. Well, remember that one night we took you out for appetizers at the free appetizer place?
And I also know you said we're going to go over offense. And then, so we did it for a day and a half of defense. I was leaving early in the morning. And you asked me one question. He goes, Coach, well, how do you build an offense? What is your thought? And I said about two things. He goes,
No. I said, how do you build a team?
Oh, that's right. And then you just gave me your tape.
You said you drove them. You go, I like a point guard. And I like one guy that can shoot. And then I like a shot blocker and a wing that can lock somebody down. And then the four-man's got to really – and I'm like, well, you're not going to score 55. So you better hold them to 52.
Oh, you gave me your tape. Here, go watch this.
I gave him my emotional alignments video. Folks, you can buy that on just Google it, whatever it is, Champions or Us or whoever, Champions video, Championship video. Cisco's, I think, bought them out or other way around. So look for those. Hey, royalty is big.
I remember next year at Nebraska, it was like 0-0 at the first TV timeout. And I walked up to you and said, I thought I came to an offensive program.
He said, give him some sugar, Timmy. Give him some sugar.
Yeah. Give him confidence. You asked me if I was used to this. I go, yeah.
Yeah, this is what we do.
I've been
Coach Mo, tell us that you've had a storied career. For those of you that don't know, first of all, he's a DePaul graduate, and he got his JD. He got a law degree from DePaul. I mean, this man, this is why I hired him. I was surrounded by lawyers in administration, so I had to hire a lawyer. And Coach Mo worked with Ray Meyer and Joey Meyer for some of the greatest DePaul teams. Coach Mo, tell us, you had your own network, WGN. What were those times like at DePaul?
Well, first of all, I was there 11 years, and this is true. We went to 10 NCAAs, I think the Final Four, 2 Final 16s, and the 11th year, the final game of the NIT. And really, my career's been blessed. But the real key is what you said, Coach. We were on WGN before ESPN. We were actually the first ESPN game was against Wisconsin, and we could recruit all over the country because everybody knew about DePaul and the Blue Demons. Plus the Myers were, like most people that coach at this level, the highest level as head coaches, excellent coaches.
No doubt. How many pros did you have at DePaul?
We had Kenny Patterson, Mark Aguirre, Terry Cummings, Kevin Edwards, Rod Strickland. We had just we were America's team, and as you well know, we could recruit nationally. And sometimes when you recruit locally, they know your scabs and your things, they know your weaknesses more when you go nationally. So we were able to recruit nationally, and Coach Ray had that grandfatherly image. So no, it was a great run, but it was all because of WGN. WGN was the key.
Coach, from there, where did you end up after that?
I went to Northern Illinois as the head coach, and it was really interesting because
you're going from 2 to 1, weren't you?
What do you mean?
From Division 2 to Division 1 at Northern? At Northern Illinois, were you guys reclassifying?
Oh, no. We were in we got into a conference.
Okay. You went from independent.
We were like you. We were Division 1 independent.
Yeah, that's no fun.
Yeah. So, but the reality of it was, it was local. And that year, I'll never remember, I interviewed for 5 jobs because it was about time.
Yeah.
One job I didn't want, that was the door the good Lord opened. And I will tell you this, as you know this, we had some players. So I didn't go in there with the with the cupboard bare. We had some players. And so we had success there. And then I went to Bradley for 11 years.
How many years at Bradley?
11. Some people think longer.
Dog years type of thing?
Oh, man. It was like.
How many fans did you average when you were at Bradley?
I bet we averaged 9,000, coach. I mean, we're the only show in town, and there's like 400,000 people in the area.
That's remarkable.
And it had tradition. Bradley had tradition, and it was the only game in town.
And you had some players there too.
Yeah, we did. We had Danny Granger, who left after I left, but we had Anthony Parker, who turned out to be a great pro. People don't know him, but he played in the NBA for 10 or 11 years. He was a first round draft choice. So, and then we had a lot of guys that were just below that, but no, it was a lot of fun being there.
I met you when you were the assistant at Minnesota and eventually became the head coach at Minnesota. Took over for Dan Munson after about 7 games, I believe, or 8 games.
Yeah, I have one of the better records in the Big Ten.
Hey, there's words.
I would never do an interim deal again.
and that's where I met you and knew that you had this kind of defensive prestige. Then you went to Western Illinois, won conference championships, just didn't make it the NCAA tournament. That's when I kind of coached you out of the South Dakota State Invite in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the Summit League Championship. Tell me now that you've been a head coach and an assistant again, and you're with Lon, what's the biggest thing that you can maybe give to young coaches or whatever on your adjustment that way? Head coach, assistant coach, now back to, you know what I'm saying. Assistant coach, head coach to assistant.
Well, here's what I think. I think it's really easy as an assistant. And I say this humbly, that to just focus on your piece of the pie. I don't think people really realize till you're a head coach. And I've done this with Coach, Dan Munson, a great guy, you, and now Coach Kruger. Until you've been a head coach, you don't know what it's like to have the whole pie. And really, the worst people to coach and the worst people to have on your staff, this is my advice to any young coach, is an evaluator. All a head coach needs to know is that, and I know Greg does it, and I'm not calling you Gregory, I'm calling you Greg. But Gregory sounds like Game of Thrones. But Greg has done that for you in his positions where he's been. I just think the reality of it is all you need behind you, alongside you, is someone who's just swinging away, helping you fight the battle. Because I don't think people understand all that goes into being a head coach. And the last thing I'll say is the thing that trains head coaches is not the physical and mental, it's the emotional. Trying to keep everybody up in your program every day. So I've really found as an assistant, that could be my second greatest role.
Yeah.
Is just try to help provide the energy to take that off the head coach.
True or false? Have you or have you not ever said, let's juice it up?
I think if you ask, has there been a day I haven't said it? That would be a true question. But I do think this, and this is part of when I grew up when I was coaching in DePaul in Chicago, Phil Jackson was there with Michael Jordan. Those years were just starting. And after every game, he'd say the same thing, Coach. He'd say, win or lose, he'd go, well, we played with energy tonight or we didn't play with energy. And that really stuck with me because basically what he was saying, I don't care what your talent level is. Unless you're a lot better than the other team, if you don't play with energy, you're not going to activate any of that. And that's why I really think, and that's probably the reason you were so successful and will be successful again, because you bring that energy. And players, it's a grind to go to school, to practice every day. Really, people don't realize that about Division I athletes. Yes, they're getting a scholarship, but it costs them their life. Every day it costs them at least about 4 hours, right?
True. I used to like to say to guys, what do you do outside of what God gave you? You have some God-given talent,
right?
Whatever. So, where's that energy or work ethic outside of just your natural ability? Because some guys really don't always push themselves the way they should, or guys or gals or whoever it might be. And it's just one of those situations where I think that energy, that work ethic, that attitude that craves improvement are really what allows people to go to the next step. Coach, who's your favorite coach you ever worked for? The best coach you ever worked for?
Well, it's a tie.
Are the rest of us tied for second?
No, you're all tied.
Okay. Yeah. How about?
No, seriously, I have learned from every situation I've been in. I don't say that as political. It's just really the truth. I think I took something from Coach Ray, and Joey, and then, excuse me, Dan Munson. Obviously took a lot from you, and now I take a lot from Coach Kruger. But I think I have a real appreciation of how hard coaching is. And so it's, like I said, I think if you're, leaders are learners. I think you have to be willing and open to continue to learn.
One of my favorite, that's a leaders or learners. Is a great Moism. We have all the Moisms.
I was looking for my cards. I was actually looking to. I used to be a card carrying member, but I can't find them right now.
Yeah. Comparison is the thief of joy, and his daughter's name's Joy. So I hope she's not dating anybody named Comparison.
No, I'm harder on her like you are.
So give me a couple others, Mo. Give me what do we got there? What's that one say? What we do with our freedom determines our level of improvement and level of peace. I like that. I
think this was one that Wes Eichmeyer, he got laminated and everything with Cheryl.
No, Coach Mo. So every time he had a scout, you got a laminated card. Are you still doing the laminated cards, or you got a new trick?
Coach Kruger, no, I haven't done. I might have done 2 since I've been here, but I just love laminating. It's the one thing I can do, and it gives me a sense of accomplishment. But
well, it's such a nice finish. I mean, it's kind of.
I saw it in every situation, and I still think this. Like, there should be a big idea, a big idea like that can kind of be the dominant theme of the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you what I did last game. It was because Coach has introduced me to Gus Bradley. Coach's great friend, and he knows him. Gus Bradley, the coordinator now in Vegas. But remember, the Raiders. I think you told me this, Coach, that, what was a key word for defense, one word. And someone said it's pursuit. Okay. So the last game I said, bring pursuit, not pride. Because I think what happens is, because we're going to win games even here defensively, and what happens is that I think guys, like I said, don't make any excuses. Don't blame your teammates. Don't bring that to this game at West Virginia. Just bring pursuit. Just get the ball. Because I remember another coach told me this. It's basketball. Get the ball. Your famous line. That
one is me.
You used to say that all the time. And so that was my thing. So I always try to have a big idea. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes they listen. But I think it gives them some type of theme, at least they can think about.
No, it's great. Yeah, well, we always said the name's called, it's called basketball. It's a hell of an idea to come up with it. So, the ball. Well, Coach, I tell you what, we could go on all night. We know this, but we really need to wrap up this part of our show.
Okay.
But I have a question for you now. Last week, Greg Eaton did You Pick'ems. Do you remember the You Pick'ems? Remember where we would pick winners games? You don't remember. It's okay.
We did it his first year.
Oh, we quit doing it.
Yeah, after.
I don't remember. I remember doing football polls. I don't remember.
We did a lot of stuff. All right.
But I don't really remember.
So last week we picked, E and I picked who was going to win. There was 3 or 4 games we picked. Who do you think did better, Coach Mo?
I think you did, Coach, or else the story would not be brought up.
Well, I'm going on a flyer here because I don't know. So, E, did you even do any follow-up work?
Yep, I did.
Effort on podcasting?
I did.
And?
You called Loyola Chicago winning both.
Okay. Got screwed.
Yep. And
what did you call? Split?
I called the split. And then you got the Purdue Minnesota game right, and I didn't. I got it wrong. Okay. So we were even there.
Well, but didn't you pick the opposites on Purdue? I think you're over, because I think you picked Drake, then Loyola, and it was just the opposite.
I picked Loyola Drake.
Oh, yeah.
We can go back and watch.
That's fine. He's over 3.
But then the tie break, Northern State Minot game was 11. You said 17. I said 13.
Shit.
So we got to go back and check it, because if I was over on that Drake, if I called him wrong, then you win.
What do you mean you got to call? You can't just call a split. You have to call.
Well, so they played back to back, right?
Yeah, right.
And so I said Loyola was winning the first one, and
You were right.
Loyola was winning both. And I don't remember exactly if he said no,
remember.
it's Drake then Loyola, or they're just going to split. I think he was probably very generalized, Coach Mo, to kind of maybe be slippery like we are right now.
Seems to me it got it right.
Oh,
Hey, but when you leave, I just want to thank both you guys, and I mean that sincerely. He put up with me. He taught the huddle people, so that was a little intimidating to me when I came with the scouting report. But he always gave me good wisdom. Mo, that's too much. We don't need this. Plus he has a feel for basketball. And then, Coach, what you taught me, you gave me an opportunity, 5 of the best years, and I sincerely can't wait till you're roaming the sidelines again next year, if that's what you want to do. So I just want to thank you guys. It's been fun being on, but I want to thank you guys for having me part of me, because those are 5 of my greatest enjoyable years in coaching.
thank you, Coach. And we feel exactly the same, right, E?
Yes, for sure.
I mean, it was wonderful.
Awesome.
And one word about Oklahoma, Coach, we have a unique team. We have a 5 that can shoot from anywhere, like Huff from Virginia. We have a very good point guard. We have a Jalen Hill type young man who's a great role player, accepts his role. So we're a very interesting team. If we just can rebound, because we can defend the first shot, and I'm sure Coach Kruger told you this, and he does exactly what you do. You did the exact same thing. You guys exploit mismatches. We have a chance. Now, if we don't rebound, we'll be out in the first game. But otherwise, if we could get some momentum because of some of the pieces, we have a little bit of chance here to make a run.
Coach, Greg, what's the number if I said 13 over or under on games of Virginia that Coach Molinari's watched?
Oh man, I'm going over, Coach.
Coach Mo, how many games have you watched of Virginia this year?
I watch part of anyone that I catch that I know is on. No, I do. There's no doubt about it.
No, I know.
And-
Folks, if you need anything on Virginia, Jim Molinari, don't talk to Tony Bennett. Don't talk to Brad Soderberg. Don't talk to those guys. They don't know anything. Coach Molinari is
he was my mentor when I was first starting in that way. So, Coach Bennett Senior, I don't ever talk to Tony or any of them, but.
You still talk to Coach Bennett some?
Oh, yeah. Senior. Yeah.
Yeah. And he watches a ton of games, doesn't he?
Except Virginia.
He's in bananas. The Mountain Five pack.
He's a true father. And I get that, it's hard to watch that, so he doesn't watch him live, I don't believe.
And you coach your son, and your other son worked for you at Western Illinois, right?
Yeah, he was the video guy. You didn't always follow the ball at both ends of the court. I'd be watching tape at night, and there'd be an empty basket. I'd hear all the action at the other end. I said, "What are you doing?"
Did he at least coach him up for you a little bit?
Yelled at the refs. I remember I was in a head coaches meeting. They came in the summer. They go, "Who is your video guy? All he does is scream at everything." I said, "I don't know, some knucklehead."
Some guy.
What a jag.
I didn't give him up.
What a jag.
What a jag.
Why would he do that? All right, guys.
Hey, Coach Mo, thanks for being on, and everybody. Welcome to another episode again of it doesn't get better than this when it comes to podcasting, for crying out loud. If you love coaching, if you love college basketball, the Inside the Mind of Miles is the only place where you get guests like Jim Molinari, Lon Kruger. And Greg Eaton and myself just waxing, So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. We're here for you and your pleasure and however we can help you. Coach Mo, good luck to the Boomer Sooners. We know you guys are going to bring it home. Probably going to win that. Baylor has no chance in the Big 12 tournament. We know that. But we're not going to tell anybody the way you guys are streaking. So keep going. Keep it going. Good luck.
See you, Coacher. See you, Greg.
See you, Coach Mo.
Thanks, everybody.